Good afternoon. This is Paul Wilson for Shaw University. I am bringing you another workshop in Moodle for faculty development. And today we'll be looking at one of the advanced topics, and that topic is lesson, building a lesson. I'm already in the class where I will be building a lesson, and now I want to turn editing on. We'll be looking at an activity, so I scroll down, find the activity menu, and from that I scroll until I find lesson, and I select lesson. Now I am redirected to adding a new lesson. I call this new lesson Touring a Tiny House. As I look at maximum number of answers, I want to expand that to 10. You'll understand more about that later. It gives me a great deal of flexibility up front. So I'm going to expand that to 10. And the other settings, for the moment, I'm going to leave. I can return and set them later. I'm going to save and display. We have Touring a Tiny House as a lesson. You can see it in the breadcrumbs. There's nothing in the lesson yet. We must create it. We will not work with import questions or import PowerPoint. We will work with add a branch table and add a question page. As we begin this, I am using an analogy, and I encourage you to think in terms of an analogy about add a lesson. Consider the analogy of a house of mirrors. You enter the house of mirrors, you enter a room, and your job is to exit the room. As you exit room after room, you progress toward the exit itself. When you exit, you've succeeded in finishing the course. You've gone through the house of mirrors. Likewise, a student progresses through stages of answers toward the end of the lesson, and they score positive or negative based on the times that it takes them to exit a question page. Let's begin by building a question page. First question page is front door. And I ask, where does the front door lead? I'm going to answer living room. And the answer to that is yes. Now I will later work with the jump, but I won't at the moment. It scores 1. Attic? No. Basement? No. Bathroom? No. After all, this is a tiny house. That's enough. Scroll down, add a question page. I'll come back to the jump later. Now I have front door. I must add a question page, and I move to another question page, living room, where does the living room lead? Answer, kitchen. And that is correct. It scores 1. You want to say yes. Bathroom. No. Attic. No. Basement. No. I add this as a question page by scrolling to the bottom. So I have 2 question pages Front door, living room. I must add kitchen now. Kitchen. Where does the kitchen? Where does the kitchen lead? Back door. It scores 1, and we're going to declare it the end of the lesson. It is a tiny house. It is attic? No. Basement? No. Hall? No. Front door? No. You can see we could keep going with those responses. I add this as a question page. Now I've got to do a little bit of work to go back with our jumps because I want to make sure they jump the right way. The front door leads to the living room. We remember that, but I need a little editing to clean that up. Front door, where does it go? Living room, yes. Goes to the next page. What is the next page? Well, the next page has got to be living room. We want to jump now to living room if you say living room. That's after the response. So I must redisplay the page. Make sure I've got that on there. Save page. Now let's make sure about the others. That was the front door page. Living room, and it says here the answer is kitchen, and then it jumps to the next page. Now I want the living room, when I answer kitchen, to jump to kitchen. So I save the page. Now the kitchen has a jump to the end of the lesson. We're about ready to add branch table. So, I'm asking a question for this branch, and my branches are going to be living room, well, front door, living room, kitchen, and back door. Now, all these are going to jump to the same page except front door, and I want front door to jump to front door. So I scroll down and add a branch table. You'll have the opportunity when you do some updating to decide how this is going to look and so on, but I want to teach you how to get the basics in for the lesson. So now I want to preview our lesson. Take a tour of a tiny house. Where do you begin your tour of a tiny house? Here are the buttons, which are branches, and are also question pages. Front door, living room, back door, kitchen. I click front door. Where does the front door lead? We're actually in that page or room. I say it leads to the living room. Please check 1. Yes, it does. So I continue, and now I progress. Where does the living room lead? I say kitchen. I check 1. I progress. Your answer, kitchen? Yes. And I continue progressing. Where does the kitchen lead? Back door. I say check 1, and the answer is yes, and I continue. I've come to the end of the lesson. Congratulations. We have taken a tour of a tiny house, and we have also learned how to create a lesson in Moodle. Thank you. Have a great day. Paul Wilson, Shaw University.